This video tip is all about two ways to make beams for your deck. One is the common way, but it's not so great, and the other is the uncommon way that'll last a lot longer. Now, normally composite beams like this are made of 2x8 or 2x10 lumber spiked together to provide the strength needed. 3-4 layers are common. Now the problem with all this is that the mating faces of the boards are tight to each other. This traps water, keeps the wood damp, sometimes for weeks after the last rain, and that promotes rot. It happens all the time, and it's a leading source of premature deck failure. Over here we have the same beam, but the pieces are separated by spacers. This makes all the difference. The one shown here is 1/2 inch thick, pressure-treated plywood. You could make the same thing out of composite deck lumber as well if you wanted. These spacers are typically about 2 to 3 inches wide, and they're as tall as the beam width that you're dealing with. So maybe 7.5, 9.5 inches long. You position them specifically to space out the pieces of wood. You can put them about 24 inches apart or so. It's not critical. Everything's held together into a sandwich, creating one unified beam. The main advantage here is that water is free to drain down between the boards. It doesn't lay there, and it doesn't promote rot. The wood stays nice and dry and lasts a long time. Now, here I recommend carriage bolts as opposed to the nails that are typically used to hold beams like this together. They just draw the parts together in a much sounder way. Now, you can get the same effect using solid beams. They're harder to handle, heavier, and not as easy to find, but a solid chunk of wood doesn't have the same problem with gaps between them, so water just sheds off harmlessly.